اول كيس معانا في راوند 2 و very excited to introduce the guests. معانا design team عليا تناني وتمارا تناني of living in interiors، ومعانا the filmmaker احمد وهبه with his case. مش هطول عليكم، احنا عندنا a lot of exciting things to discuss وافكار ويعني fun project. I'm sure في ناس شافت البرومو فيديو بتاع احمد النهارده وشافوا already المشكله بتاعته، ف يعني بتهيألي كل الناس متحمسه جدا تشوف الحلول اللي اتعملت. فهنبتدي مع عليا. هاي.
Hi, how are you?
كله تمام.
الحمد لله.
يعني please كده introduce yourself لأنه يعني we'd love to hear about you.
We are living in interiors and we are designers, we are manufacturers of woodwork, and we are also providers of a lot of different brands, lifestyle brands, and let's say commercial brands for offices. So we've been working for almost 30 years in the market. وبس ومبسوطين ان احنا نكون معاكم on this project.
احنا اكتر. تمارا.
هاي، انا تمارا تناني. my background مختلف شويه. عملت bachelor's، عملت في business، عملت masters في interior، ف I have a bit of everything in my blood يعني. بس بقالي بشتغل في الشركه over the last 6-7 years on and off. I'm part of the team دلوقتي officially بقالي 4 شهور. ف I'm excited to يعني this is one of the fun projects that we got to work on. I'm excited to show you guys عملنا ايه.
حلو قوي. احنا عشان بس نبقى برضو كده to recap يعني نبتدي نintroduce الفكرة. احنا Design to Go initiative. It started مع COVID-19 in April. ابتدينا it was an idea علشان نقرب الانتيريور ديزاينرز للكلاينتس اللي هم الناس العاديه اللي عايشه في بيتها وابتدوا يحسوا بمشاكل معينه في بيتهم من القعاد من الكورنتين. وكان اول راوند معانا كانت عملنا بيرنج لراوند 70 كيسز. كل واحد كان عنده مشكله تصميميه في بيته، عايز يصلح حته او عايز يعمل ديكور لبيته، او حتى في ناس كان عندها بيوت جديده عايزين يظبطوا فيها حته. وفي كانوا فولنتيرز ديزاينرز ساعدوهم ان هم يوصلوا لديزاين مناسب. راوند 2 از ديفرنت. المره دي عملنا بارتنرشيب مع اهل مصر، واي حد هيقدم الكيس بتاعته هيطلب الديزاين. هيكون في فيز للديزاين، والفيز دي هتروح لتطوير بيوت راح يعني بيوت اتدمرت في الحريق. وطبعا دي كوز مختلفه يبقى في الحاله دي كل واحد بيساعد نفسه يعمل مكان جديد، وفي نفس الوقت البروفيت هيروح لاهل مصر. برضو we are very happy to be supported by تطوير مصر، ان هم they have been supporting us as a startup، وكانوا معانا في الماركتينج وفي ادونا منتورشيب في حاجات كتير. مش هطول عليكم، انا بس عشان الناس الجديده اللي اول مره يعرفوا عن ديزاين تو جو يبقى عندهم بس فكره. المره دي معانا طبعا عليا وتمارا كانوا فولنتيرز يشتغلوا على كيس من الكيسز، ومعانا احمد وهبه فيلم ميكر هنعرف عنه اكتر دلوقتي، ومتحمسين نعرف عنه هو شخصيا وعن الكيس اللي هو بعتها لنا تو ديزاين.
ازيكم؟ اسمي احمد وهبه، معروف اكتر ببروجكت وهبه. انا زي تمارا دخلت جوه غساله باتشلرز ملوش علاقه بماي ميجر، ودخلت برضو لا سكول، قعدت شويه وفي الاخر غيرت كاريرز تماما، وابتديت pick up camera and I started filming و shooting. everything was self-taught. كده ابتديت progress لغايه لما ابتديت اخرج من قريب actually مش من كتير، وبقيت اخرج حاجات مختلفه من travel videos لميوزك كليبس دلوقتي حاجات بعملها short movies and so on. اكتر حاجه بحب اصورها is travel documentaries وبني ادمين. I like طبعا picturing I like narrating stories, telling stories in ways, different ways, shapes and forms where people can actually relate and connect to.
اوكي طب احكي لنا بقى عن البروجكت بتاعك.
يلا. والله انتوا اول لما انتوا you guys approached me بالفكره، انا كنت I knew exactly which space كان عندي مشكله فيه. ان من اول لما كوفيد ابتدى انا قررت، وكان لازم ان بالذات in my line of work لازم اقفل المكتب. وبرضه in my line of work it's very easy for a lot of people to work from home. فده القرار اللي خدته، وقلت خلاص انا كان عندي 2 بانجلوز محطوطين بره، عايز ابتدي اقلبهم مكتب. وطبعا كان ساعتها وقت الشتاء، فالجو ما كانش حر قوي، فابتديت انقل كده كام ديسك جوه، وابتديت كده احرك كام حاجه. وبعد كده حسيت ان السبيس ده مش عايز اقعد فيه، حسيته كده متقفل قوي واربع حيطان، ان من جوه ضيق، وقدامي على طول جنينه حلوه قوي، فبحس كده بكونتراست عالي قوي، فما كنتش بستريح. ففي الاخر كنت عامل مكتب تاني كده جوه، كنت بروح بقعد فيه، وكنت بقعد فيه لوحدي، او اي حد تاني عايز يجي لي كان بيكفي، يعني كان مكتب بلس تشير، فبيكونوا قعدتين. فas soon as you guys approached me كنت عارف بالظبط ان السبيس ده كنت عايز اطلع بيه بكونسبت ان هو بينفيوز الاوتدورز كونسبت مع الوركينج سبيس اللي جوه. وبالنسبه لي برضو الموضوع ده كان مهم جدا، ان انا كل كرياتيفيتي بتجيلي من حاجات ليها دعوه بنيتشر، من حاجات اوت دورز. ما بعرفش اقعد في 4 حيطان. دلوقتي مثلا وانا قاعد عادي جدا اسرح after a good 10 minutes. فالموضوع ده كان مهم قوي بالنسبه لي. واول طبعا ما عرفت ان عليا وتمارا ماسكين البروجكت بالصدفه، اصلا انا كنت مقابل تمارا قبليها باسبوع، فعرفت دماغها رايحه فين. I was very very excited and I'm very excited to hear على الديزاين.
طيب انت هتشوف الديزاين دلوقتي معانا لاول مره صح؟ اوكي very excited for the reactions.
جدا.
اوكي
طيب اقول
طيب
لكم ان انا ماسك تليفوني بقول ايه ده الساعه 7، ايه ده الساعه 8، مش هي ساعه بساعه. ف I am very excited.
Tamara or Alia, can you walk us through the presentation and the thought process, how you see the problem?
Alia,
Tamara.
Now.
Yeah. I'll let you start, and then I'll you hand it over to me. Because you're the one that saw the site. So yeah. Typical COVID-19 situation. We're in different countries.
Yeah.
And in different places, and we have to continue working and being creative together, even though the distance is quite far. So I want Tamara to start, and then Anna, I will take over بعد كده.
Okay, so we can move on to the next slide, Laila. Great. So basically it's an unconventional workspace what we're going for. هو أصلاً الارchitecture بتاع المكان is very Islamic. When you look at it, you don't think على طول work office or work from home. فمن البداية we looked at it in a very unconventional way. We can move on to the next slide. So basically we then started looking at our client, which is Ahmed in this case. Sorry, Ahmed, we used a lot of your images.
لا أكيد,
hope you enjoy it.
I'm the one that wanted to do that because it is you. And that was the only way I could understand a little bit who you were.
Love it. I love it. Thank you.
That's why.
Our client is obviously interested in traveling and movie photography, and his work is very collaborative. He's an Egyptian entrepreneur, so it's very important Egypt to bring into this case. His occupation, he's a director. So he wants to basically, like he said, create a space within a home office inside and in those 2 bungalows, and sort of have the space be influenced by the outdoors and sort of bring the outdoors inside and the inside outside. So that was sort of the challenges that we faced. And then let's move on to the next slide. So as you can see, the wants for the space is to create a home office, influence outdoors with inside. As I said, his needs were very simple: laptop, printer, scanner, desk, writing, sketching for drawing space, a coffee machine, and a mini fridge. So it's basically what you would imagine in a typical home office. Yani. And then you can move on to the next slide. So this is the existing plan. You have, these are 2 different hubs or huts in this case. And then you have an area where there's the bathroom. We can move on to the next slide. So as you can see, احنا دخلنا من المين entrance where هو يعني هي الصورة الثانية على اليمين، ده المين entrance. فمن البداية it's not your conventional way of entering a space. دخلنا من البيت there's a lot of invasion of privacy عشان especially in a home من البداية لازم يكون في separation بين home و office. وبعدين الصورة الثانية those are the 2 huts as you can see, they're domes, it's beautiful architecture, الأرضية it's beautiful. All of these we kept as is. We can move on to the next slide. فالحمام هو على طول قدام two doors. فمن البداية also a bit uncomfortable إنه يعني الواحد بيدخل الحمام شايفه. بس اللي عجبنا قوي من الموضوع ده exposed wash basins. فدي حاجة كانت عجبانا جدا قوي من السبيس already. And then let's move on to the next slide. This is the interior of the space. But as you can see, يعني الأخضر obviously the choice of color was probably عشان يدخل الألوان بتاعت الجنينة جوه البيت أو جوه الهوت يعني. بس اللون ما هواش اللون الصح. The frames of the windows are a bit bulky. فدي كانت حاجة برضو we recommended إنه نغيرها عشان ممكن تفتح قوي وتدخل نور كتير قوي. الويندوز بتفتح لجوه whereas it might be better لو الويندوز تفتح لبره. دي برضو حاجة احنا بصينا عليها. ممكن نكمل. I'll go through these very quickly يعني as you can see برضو two huts نفس الاثنين huts بيعملوا نفس الفانكشن وشبه بعض بالظبط. ف it doesn't stimulate movement أو it doesn't stimulate واحد يروح من مكان لمكان. ف automatically بتدخلي في واحد أو بيدخل في واحد وخلاص it ends there. So that was something we also looked at. We can move on to the next slide. And then in between space ما فيش حاجة بتحصل. فدي برضو حاجة احنا شفناها يعني كfunctionality في مشكلة فيها. We can move on to the next slide. This is our thinking process. أخذنا البلان قعدنا نفكر ins out اللي بيحصل اللي ممكن نغيره اللي ما ينفعش نغيره. What is the natural space? What is the natural architecture telling us to do يعني. So we can move on to the next slide. Please. So this is our concept. So our concept is basically movement. It's creating movement throughout the space and how to make a person feel comfortable within the space. And from this quote, and the most important thing you can take out of is those who move see other things. Those who see other things think differently and automatically come to other solutions. But whenever you're in the workspace, the most important thing you have to do is إنه الواحد يقعد يمشي ويفكر ويبص على حاجات بطريقة مختلفة. But that's exactly what we wanted to have to come within the space. يعني. And then we can move on to the next slide. So this is a small diagram and giving a sort of snippet of what we did with the 3 spaces. We can move on. So first thing we did is change the main axis. And with the changing of the main axis, automatically we create a movement from the entry point على طول. We can move on to the next slide. Into the first hub. So we changed it from hut to hub because we feel like, I don't know, we live in a world of hubs now. But the first one is the collaboration hub. So we can move on. So basically in the collaboration hub, it's all about team playing. It's all about being together. So let's move on. Be quite quick. These are our inspirations. So behind every image, there's always a certain direction. There's always a teamwork. There's always a vision. There's always work that comes together. So this is what the collaboration hub for us had to emulate. Move on. So as you can see, this is.
Can I just say one? I hope everything is like being absorbed. We're not going too fast.
I'm going too fast. If I'm going too fast, please tell me. I speak super fast.
Because we don't want to run through everything.
Perfect. لا I'm zoned in يعني 100%. You have my full attention.
Okay.
So I'll continue this slide but then Alia will explain later the next one after this. But basically this is just explaining architecturally speaking قلنا على طول لازم نستعمل vertical spaces بتاعت المكان. vertical spaces هتستعمل for 2 different reasons. One is more of a pin board والتاني more of where to put your stacks of books وبتاع وفي النص where everyone comes together وبيشتغل. بس around it عايزين برضو نستعمل المكان for seating, for moving, for this. والwalls are going to be برضو used vertically. So we can move on to the next slide. This is a sort of top view of the space يعني حطينا sort of as you could see before there's like حاجات داير ما يدور which are like bookcases and whatnot, but this is just to show you إنه الأكشن بيحصل في النص. بس برضو walls, the verticals are very important. So if we move on to the next slide, Alia, you can go in here and start talking. So this is what we did with the vertical walls.
I can start talking about this one because I did the initial sketch for that part. So I got the project raw. Just pictures of the blue room, that blue-green room with the windows. My comment very fast was the windows need to be changed. And I couldn't really tell the space as much, I mean, measurements. But what I could see is that having the desk against the wall towards the window conflicted with the height of the window. So it hit the window at the wrong side. You can't open the window. You can't use it anymore. And so basically I said, okay, the workspace needs to be in the center under the dome. And everything around it needs to be functional. So everything against the wall needs to be coordinated with the windows, and all of it should be functional. They should have whiteboards to be able to be creative on, sketch on, get ideas on. They should have a clipboard to hang pictures, to use the beautiful art that's available. All kinds of, there should be a bookcase, there should be seating areas all around. So to basically make the walls active. At that point, Tamara got a little bit worried because she was saying, oh my God, السبيس ده صغير جدا. ما عندناش enough space ان انا احط الناس بتشتغل في النص فعايزة لا نحط ترابيزه كبيره كل حد يشتغل حواليها والباقي كل الاكشن يبقى حواليها كل السيرفيسز سواء هي ثلاجه سواء هي printer plotter whatever it is. Go on Tamara, that's where I came in.
anyways we didn't put ولا printer ولا plotter ولا يعني في printer و plotter بس ما فيش الفريج جوه المكان ده عشان لقينا مكان تاني ليه. بس basically عملنا modular system. لو نرجع بس للسلايد اللي قبليها فلو تبصوا على السكشن اللي على الشمال this is a modular system معمول بس كأرفف وشلفز. We were inspired by a company كده بتعمل كل حاجة ببولتس و it's in metal بس it's very bulky فقلنا خلاص نستعمل الخشب أحسن بكتير ونعمل كل حاجة يعني السيتنج involved جوه الأرفف جوه يعني جوه seating وبعدين عندك ترابيزه that goes all around. that was a modular system that makes it بقى functionality much easier وتتحط وتتشال much more easier. And if we move to the next slide, this is just sort of any materials or like furnitures that we decided to put within the space. A big meeting table in the center that fits 4 people to work. حطينا spot حطينا chandelier والchandelier دي absorbs sound because معمولة بفابريك in the space أصلا في echo عشان الدوم فقلنا لازم مهم إنه يكون في a sound absorber. Cushions on the على يعني شلت وcushions وكده على المكان اللي داير ما يدور وبعدين spots on top of places where الناس هتقعد تقرا or whatever it is. And then we can move on to the next slide.
I just want to say one small thing. In احنا برضو in the slide before, if you notice the lighting that is there, we thought of acoustical lightings. We were a little bit concerned with the dome. The dome always creates echoes in the center of the room. So you're working in the center of the room. It could be that you're on the phone or something and then you start hearing an echo. So that's why we introduced that type of lighting on top of the desk area.
بالظبط. collaboration work is very important, but you always need to have a space where الواحد يقعد لوحده يقعد يفكر ويبقى creative لوحده. فبرضه through movement we are able to move the person from the collaboration room to a space where he needs to be alone. But that's where the creative hub comes into play. If we can move on to the next slide. The creative hub is a place of focus, a place of zen, a place of just very clean, very straightforward, مفيش يعني complications, and برضو just a question of having the people move from space to space will create automatic movement. We can move on to the next slide. So these were sort of the inspirations that we were looking for, just as sensations we wanted to have the space look and feel like. We can move on to the next slide. So as you can see here, we sort of أخذنا نفس الكونسبت بتاع أول واحد مع السيستم اللي بيروح داير ما يدور، بس this time قلنا إنه هنعمل بس seating والtables that move around، فبرضو كfunctionality it's very easy, very flowing، والترابيزات بس يعني going back and forth بتتغير، والseating زي ما هو، وبعدين في unconventional seating اللي هو a height stool table، فإتس برضو a space where يعني بنستعمل الركن بتاع كل الدومز ك a table where someone can work، فإتس برضو حاجة مختلفة، والseating ما هواش الseating اللي احنا بنعمله عادي، هو it's a bit higher، فبرضو the change of height and the change of movement بيحاول الجسم يعني يتغير شوية. We can move on to the next slide. So as you can see هنا برضو working environment working space، يعني if someone meditates, if someone whatever عنده option يقعد على الأرض، عنده option إنه يقعد على البنش جنب الويندو، أو عنده option إنه يقعد على a high stool table، وفي الترابيزات اللي حوالين that change. But this is very much a space where الواحد بيشتغل لوحده solo, which is very important برضو في work environment إنه كل واحد يكون عنده space بتاعه. And then Alia can start talking about colors.
Colors. Okay, well, in the previous space, the colors were very sort of green, white, stone, the brown of the wood, so very much in tune with nature. In this area, which is the creative hub, we wanted it to be a little bit more colorful, a little bit different, also so that your senses understand which area are you in. Are you in one area or in the other? You will always remember it also. So we started talking about terracotta colors, light blue for the top part. The light blue is sort of a distressed paint, and then the dome is always with the stone that's very beautiful exposed. So very natural. And then of course, to connect with the other space, we have the wraparound green.
There's a greenery wraparound within the theme.
That's sort of in tune with the windows and with the line where the dome ends.
And then we can move on. فهنا also furniture wise we kept it very simple. We wanted to stick على nomadic feeling بتاع المكان عشان المكان is very nomadic. فكل حاجة is freestanding, nothing is fixed, nothing is everything can be moved around constantly. عشان برضو المكان ما يكونش ليه weight, and it's very much كل واحد و his space يعني. And then so here what we can see برضو what's important to look at is احنا يعني an advice we give is to change the direct يعني انه الهنج بتاع الباب يكون بدل ما يكون 90 يكون 180 عشان يفتح على طول. When you're working in the space, both doors are open constantly with each other.
They're open and they're against the wall, and they free the space in the center and they free the space inside too. And you have this in and out connection that's there without damaging, of course, the architecture.
بالضبط. And then من the creative hub, you always need a space to be sort of in a shaded area or in a break area. This is what we created, a sort of what we call is a shaded area. ففي movement تاني يعني في movement تالت in this case to the outside. So we can move on to the next slide. So this is our break area where we decided that's where كل amenities بتاعت اللي أحمد كان عايزها اللي هي الفريج والكوفي سبيس والبتاع هيكون برا. We can move on to the next slide. So basically in this case احنا كنا we were looking at outside spaces, and obviously الdomes بتاعت architecture existing inspired us to create sort of a bungalow معمولة من خشب زي الصورة على الشمال. برضو in the circular يعني عشان يكمل 3 sort of قبهات next to each other. We can move on to the next slide. This is the sort of rough sketch of what we were envisioning for the space. We can move on to the next slide. And هنا we were thinking برضو very
أنا سايب comments مش عايز أقاطعك بس I love the idea of the wooden bungalow. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Imagine شوية جهنميات كمان running around it. It'll be gorgeous.
Yes.
فهنا we decided to stick بقى with bean bags and things that are easy to put in and out, and they'll be easy to put into the creative hub عشان there's a lot of space there, so super easy to move in and out constantly. And it برضو gives it gives the person the time to sit outside and enjoy nature and actually work من برا كمان. And then we can move on to the next slide. فهنا this is where we sort of changed, maybe architecturally speaking, something that we think is very important. كان الحيطة بتاعت الحمام، عشان الحمام كان متقسم نصين رجالة وستات from one side وكان فيه exposed wash basins. فاحنا we decided إنه الحيطة لازم تتحط من البداية so that we are able to create a bench space and also give privacy to the bathroom. وبعدين كنا قعدنا نفكر okay, how can we bring الحمام والbreak area in the same thing. العلاقة الاثنين مع بعض هو المية. فقلنا okay, the best thing to do is to combine يعني we'll have the wall وكل حاجة, and then we'll combine just إنه where the people wash the things وكده. So if we move on to the next slide, this is where we go into what we call the water area. عايزين نسيب الwash basins برا. We like that idea very much, so we're keeping that idea. Let's move on to the next slide. So basically, this is what we did with the spaces. But we had, يعني obviously, the common factor بين ال break area والtoilets يعني هي الفاكت إنه محتاجين مية in both cases. بس في يعني على section اللي على اليمين, this is the break area. So you have space to put the kettle, the fridge, the this, that, كل الحاجات تحت sort of a bar area مع اليوسج بتاع المية وهكذا. وبعدين ما غيرناش, كان في حصيرة كان في حصيرة. So we kept the حصيرة which is very nice between both, بس قلنا نسيب space void بينهم عشان النور برضو يكون flowing. فالتاني ممكن يعني يشوف التاني بيغسل ايده بس it's fine. And كألوان we decided that these colors really worked well with the space, فit blended automatically مع النيتشر اللي برا, and it made it look a lot more appealing than just يعني أبيض. And then let's move on to the next slide. فهنا we want to keep that rustic feeling اللي برا, يعني broken sort of mirrors on the قدام الحمامات, just very يعني very playful things added يعني. And then let's move on to the next slide. So basically this is our final plan. A collaboration hub where the team gets to work together. The creative hub where everyone's sort of nomadic and working alone. The shaded area that bring both spaces مع بعض والواحد يقدر يقعد برا. Break area والbathroom. And all of this comes together by creating movement and allowing the person once coming in to enjoy all spaces, which then يعني with the person automatically كل حاجة بتكون one because they're all used together. And then if we move on, so this makes sense now.
أحمد وهبة.
أيوة أنا مستني, أنا مخزن.
خزنت كتير ها؟
أوي.
I'm sure يعني عندك أسئلة وكومنتس وكل حاجة ف
قليلة. I just wanna يعني thank Tamara and Alia for the amazing work. يعني أنا العكس, أنا كنت متحمس, كنت متخيل حاجة كويسة, بس my mind is kind of blown. وسوري يا Tamara إن I interrupted you in the middle, بس حتة ال third dome دي it's brilliant. I love it, and I'm imagining it حتى بالshades اللي هتخبط في الأرض. I think it's beautiful. I love it. I love everything about it. I love the whole movement process. it's very my personality قوي, which is why I think I'm very mind blown من البروسيس. لا يعني عايز اسقف.
Well,
thank you.
طيب عايزينك تسأل أسئلة
Tamara,
بقى
do you want to talk ولا أنا?
I do. I have a couple of questions. But
Yes.
the thing is, let me try and remember. So in the beginning, أول حاجة كان الانترنس منين؟
الانترنس من ورا بدل ما يكون يعني انت كنت عايز اصلا تغير الانترنس من الباث واي, فبدل ما الانترنس من where the حمام is, عشان كان عندك two options انت كانترنس. فالانترنس هيكون where the person is coming من ورا. كملي هنا. فيعني maybe not access is يعني جنب الهوت بتاعت الكرييتيف هوت. مش كان في مكان هنا؟ صح؟
لا هب مش هوت.
هوت sorry هوت.
لا بهزر, I'm joking. So it's between the bathroom and the hut, correct?
بالظبط.
Okay, perfect, got it. Okay. السؤال الثاني, معلش I'm just going back and forth, وإن أنا مش معايا ورقة, I'm writing and I wrote them down in my notes.
Sure.
So, second question is with the collaboration hub, you talked about having stuff up vertically.
Yes.
بس كان في حاجة كده دورية, I think it was like grass or artificial grass surrounding it من فوق.
This was just sort of, it's not artificial grass. It's يعني this is Alia can explain that because that was Alia's idea.
So this is a metal box that actually has a proper a plant, I mean water feeding. So it has an I can't think of it except in French. I'm sorry. An arrosage. It
sprinkles. It sprinkles the water.
Right.
Yeah. Within it. So it's actually natural. It can grow, طبعا grow to a limit. We wanted to add the green, but we didn't want to do like a vertical wall full on. We don't prefer it to be artificial. It could be, but it's not really preferential, because if you have a nice little system going on, it could be a very interesting thing. It's alive, it's beautiful, you can feed it.
Like you can water it.
Exactly. You can water it, you can feed it. So it's something that's alive and that is green and that is natural, and it fit in with your requirements. Everything underneath it is glossy white paint, actually glossy enough, or actually a texture تقدر تشتغل عليها بماركر. يعني basically it's a whiteboard تقدر تكتب عليها وتقدر تمسحها. We can also have magnetic areas, so where if you have some pictures or you're brainstorming على مجموعة صور أو لقطات أو whatever it is اللي أنت عايزها, تقدر immediately you pin them up على الحيطان. So basically الحيطان they start to become part of the creativity process بتاعتك around the space. Okay?
Got it.
غير انه طبعا عندك برضو شوية مكتبات for your books, شوية حاجات يعني that we just wanted these walls to become alive, سواء alive through nature اللي متعلقة فوق, او اللي هي برضو بتدي sort of a human, لان انت عندك الدوم اللي هي حلوة قوي قوي قوي, sort of بنديلها wrap around نهاية على level معين. اوكي, وبعد اللي تحتيها بقى بيبقى هو كله ما هو functional.
Got it.
And everything ما اللي فوقيها is dreamy.
Got it. حتى another question برضو لسه فاكرها من غير ما jump back to my notes. I think it's in the next slide. كان في نور أو زي that's it. جنب الترابيزة. I think it's called the loose plan ceiling light.
Oh yes.
These
are the ones عشان you see in the furniture selection في النص, they're on top of the table.
Okay, got it.
ودول they're sound absorbing يعني عشان معمولين من fabric فautomatically الساوند يعني الايكو يعني بيتشال.
انت بتتكلم على the center ones اللي هم متعلقين من السيلينج صح؟ مش
Correct.
اللي هم yeah.
Yes.
They are actually sound absorbent. ف again الدوم كان انا عامل لي شويه قلق لاني كنت خايفه من الاكو. في اي دوم بتبقى فيها بتقعد في النص بتتكلم بتسمع رن، فكنا قلقانين من الحته دي. So therefore بس عن يعني it's something that we think is recommended to think of sound absorption in general.
Oh, absolutely. أنا ما كنت بقعد كان الأكو بيضايقني، بس كنت بحط حاجة زي I don't know if you can see it. بس أنا قاعد يعني بالصدفة دلوقتي أنا قاعد جوه استوديو، فكنت بحط زي sound diffusers where they just absorb the sound.
ما احنا Tamara actually suggested the sound diffusers دول، يعني هي قالت لي why don't we put linen على الحيطان، فقلت لها انا قلقانه من المينتننس بتاعت اللينن والحيطان والشغل، فاي بريفير ان الحيطان تبقى فانكشنال بالنسبه لك، السبيس مش كبير، فان يبقى عندك فانكشناليتي عاليه على الحيطان and then نحاول نعالج الساوند absorption بطرق مختلفة، وهي مثلا through اللايتنج اللي في السيلينج.
Absolutely. Love it. Thank you so much. The whole idea أنا كانت Alia, what you just said right now كانت مشكلتي في اللينن، فحاسس إن هي يعني مشكلة محلولة باللايتس. I think حتى ما اشوفها من الحقيقه هتخيلها. I think هي المفروض اصلا حجم النجفه يكون اكبر بكتير.
I'm assuming 120 by 135.
okay. حجمها اصلا محطوط.
Yeah, they're big.
So yeah, خلاص. That's it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Okay. Give me 1 second. ماشي. I had another question in regards to the creative hub, which is برضو يعني mind blowing. It's beautiful. السلايد اللي بعديه. Yep, that's it. So في حتت على الجنب I noticed ان هم كانوا standing areas.
Yes.
صح؟ What is the bench in between?
The bench in between is just برضو seating area. Sometimes واحد عايز يكون standing عشان برضو يعني you said you were about 6 people, but we needed to think of maybe there'd be more than one person at a time. Some people don't feel like sitting على a stool and it's not comfortable, or they don't want they want to have another change of space, they'd rather sit على a bench, and then you have these tables that move around. برضو the walls then become functional as well, and then ممكن تحتيها تحط يعني places to like hide, مش hide stuff بس يعني store stuff.
Got it. That's the last question. The washing area.
Yes.
انتي الحته بس I think انا اتلخبطت فيها. So the washing area اللي بره اللي مش جوه الحمام تحتيها هي دي الحته اللي فيها الفريج وبقيه الفاسيلتيز.
بالظبط. يعني في الارياز اللي مقفوله عشان في النص on the right one في حته كده مفتوحه. الحته المفتوحه دي ممكن you can store anything that needs to be stored بره او can be stored بره، وبعدين on the 2 other areas they'll be closed, and that's where you can put a fridge, you can put all the like things that you need outdoors. And we are most like a bar, it's like an outdoor bar but there, and that's where you'll use everything مش creative to make your coffee and to do all of these things every day.
Love it. يعني أنا حتى I have 0 more questions. I am really impressed by the whole design. يعني I thank you guys so much. I think برضو design to go for all the efforts. وبجد it's a piece of art.
And I'm moving to light because I realized I was sitting in the dark.
طيب انا يعني مبسوطه ان انت طبعا يعني الديزاين رهيب، وعايزه اعرف ايه what's the next step. فانت شايف ان انت مستعد تبتدي في هذا المشروع في تنفيذه؟
انا مستعد من بعد اغسطس، ان انا يعني الفتره دي شغل، ما برجعش البيت، يعني بنام في الاوضه دي ساعات. ف فلا بس اكيد يعني I'm very excited actually ان انا ارجع وانفذ البلان. يعني I really mean it when I say I liked everything about it, everything من اول كلمه movement لغايه ال outdoor area.
انا مبسوطه جدا، حاسه ان كمان وجود الصور بتاعتك في البرزنتيشن كانت بينت قوي ان هم they were trying to read you as a person الاول.
absolutely 100%.
كنت عايزه اسالك
الصراحه دي اكتر حاجه انا امبرس بيها، ان هم عرفوا شخصيتي قوي، وطبقوها في ديزاين بطريقه انا مقتنع بيها.
اوكي،
يعني
انتوا اتكلمتوا كذا مره مع بعض ولا how did it go the design process?
No, this is why I'm very impressed. I've only Tamara only came once and we only talked once من بعدها. يعني هي دي الحته. This is where I'm mind blown. اللي هو one conversation مع Tamara that led to something that in my opinion is يعني حاجه حاسسها كده متاخده مني ومحطوطه في حته outdoors.
احنا بالنسبه لنا كتيم انا وتمارا. Tamara was very excited about sorry, I lost you guys. I don't know. Can you hear me? Yeah? You're here. Okay. Are they there?
Hi, I'm sorry. For some reason, يعني مرة واحدة lost connection. I'm very sorry. Sorry.
No, don't worry. I'm between the fact that I'm sitting in the dark and then I have no idea what I'm looking at.
Sorry, مرة واحدة لقيت ايه ده البرزنتر وانتوا مش موجودين. anyway أنا مش عارفة هو أحمد راح فين يعني.
I don't know.
أنا موجود.
أنت موجود.
طب كويس.
في حاجة حصلت في الإنترنت في مصر تقريبا.
I just wanted to say that it was exciting to work with Tamara, of course, on this. It was exciting to get to know Ahmed, which I really didn't know at all. I got to know him just because he was our client. So I had to do a little bit of research and find out about him, about you. I can't see you, but about you. And I mean, it was an interesting project. It's fun. It's dynamic. You are a dynamic guy, and everything that you asked for sort of fit with what we kind of detected from your personality. And it was fun working with Tamara, and of course there's an extended team behind Tamara.
Living in team.
Yeah, living in team, exactly. But it was out of the normal for us. It's not every day that we work on a project like that. So it's I'm gone. Okay, I'm here again. Okay. Now I can see you all. That's very nice. I couldn't see everybody. Anyway, it was fun getting to know you, Ya Ahmed, through this project. And it was a lot of fun working with Tamara. You were asking me, Dalia, before we started, if we work together normally. Well, I must say that we have been working, of course, since Tamara was a baby. So that sounds a little cheesy, but it's true. She's been part of our conversations ever since she was Say Hi. Now she took a career in design and did it full on and got a master's and studied several places around the world. So it makes me very proud. And on this specific project, I got to know a lot about her work too, and the team's work with her, and me being far away.
Tamara. But how was the experience, Tamara?
To me, it was a great experience for many reasons. And as Alia was saying, I just recently came back to coming and working and living in and in Cairo in general. My work in Cairo is very minimal أو يعني almost non-existent. It was very interesting and أنا ابتدي أشتغل هنا في مصر وأتعامل مع ناس مختلفة. And one of the reasons I really enjoyed working with Ahmed is it was especially one, the architecture of the space is beautiful and I'm an architecture obsessed person. But and second of all, because قبل ما we worked together, we had a conversation and it was an interesting, and for me, what's important برضو for connection between a client and a designer is how they understand each other. For me, design isn't about taste. I don't believe in taste very much. Good design is good design. And a good design is always very specific to the client and very specific to their needs. And to me, I don't have a style in general, because to me, I try to emulate what الشخص اللي قدامي عايز، مش اللي أنا عايزاه. عشان اللي أنا عايزاه أنا أعرف what's correct and what's right and what's wrong. بس برضو and I have we have designers, we have the ability to choose the right colors, the right materials, whatever. But برضو a good designer translates the space as the client, not as the designer.
Exactly.
I will never put you never look at a space and be like, that's Tamara. And I think that for me is what's very important in design, is to have that specific viewpoint in general.
عامة يعني I think in a collaboration دي طبعا أكيد كانت fruitful وأحمد أحمد يعني أكتر واحد يقدر يجادج، بما إن هو في الآخر المفروض المكان ده tailored ليه. وانا مبسوطه انه الكونكشن بانت، وازاي انه through لما بيكون مساحه محدوده وبيكون في كونكشن، يعني في good understanding of the problem، الديزاينر ممكن ازاي يوصل لحاجه that is satisfactory للكلاينت. يعني هو احنا from one step قدرتوا توصلوا لحاجه حد متخيل حاسس ان هو خلاص he can go ahead and execute it. small question، كان عنده شويه اسئله بسيطه وبعد كده اكيد ممكن يكمل. with your support and support احنا طبعا دايما موجودين عشانك احمد to help you within the next steps. انا كنت مبسوطه قوي ان انتوا معانا، يعني I'm sure ناس for presentation، يعني a lot of fantastic work. I love the presentation style. كل الناس complimenting الشغل و I'm sure يعني they're very jealous إن هم يعني فبقول يعني this is an invitation. أي حد عنده space in their home وعايز يعدل فيه أو يظبط فيه، please go to esource.com/design2go. هنحط اللينك على الكومنتس. أي حد يقدر يبعت لنا، هيملى questionnaire. It's a very simple process. هينقي 3 designers عشان يختار 3 designers دول، حد يشتغلوا على حد من 3 designers يشتغل على الكيس بتاعته. بعد كده هيملى questionnaire زي اللي أحمد ملاه. أحمد أنت how was the questionnaire؟
Very easy, simple. يعني ما خدتش. I don't think I can't distinguishly remember يعني on the time span of the process, but I think it's 5 to 10 minutes, very very simple. I think it tackled the right questions برضه.
هي أهمية الكويستشنير دي كان إن إحنا ننقل الديزاينر ببساطة save time، ودي حاجة إحنا بتاعتنا دلوقتي save time و actually utilize the digital technology. And this is why ESOR is using this online platform, and I think it's linking people together. وخلت انه احمد قال it took about 15 minutes. That's the average. احنا بيجي لنا كل يوم دي بنعرف الافريج بتاع الناس بياخد الوقت قد ايه. فبنقدر نشوف فعلا انه الكويشنير بياخد وقت قليل بشويه صور. الديزاينر بيقدر ياخد نظره عامه، وبعد كده بيحصل شويه كوميونيكيشن بسيطه مع الكلاينت لغايه ما يحصل الديزاين نفسه. وطبعا كل البروفيتس بتاعه الديزاين كيس دي هتروح لاهل مصر. واحب برضه اقول تاني thank you لاهل مصر for being part of this. thank you عليا، thank you تمارا، thank you احمد.
thank you. بس انا قبل ما اقفل انا عايز اشكركم جدا وعلى مجهودكم وعلى كل حاجه عملتوها. وده اللي طبعا لو سمعه وحازم وكل حد حط مجهود، وطبعا عليا وتمارا, thank you guys so much. It's number one, it's a pleasure to get to know you and even hearing you and hearing hearing your presentation. You guys have very vibrant personalities. And طبعا تمارا انا كنت قابلتك من قبليها, انا حاسس عرفتك اكتر من البروجكت ده لا بشكركم جدا. يعني انا بجد مقدر المجهود ومقدر كل حاجه معموله. يعني انا ممكن ما بعرفش اميرر انا بحب حاجه قد ايه, بس يعني if it was from 1 to 10 I would give it a 10, and I very rarely بوصل الليفل ده. So thank you guys from the bottom of my heart.
Thanks. It was a pleasure.
Thank you like for all your help, guys. Really, you guys have done a great job. Thank you.
Yeah, it was fun doing this work.
And Laila, yeah, great.
Laila, Dalia, everybody. It was, and of course Ahmed. It was fun doing it, and we enjoyed it very much. And we're very glad it's for a good cause too. لأهل مصر.
Yes, inshallah, we're hoping to fundraise while helping people.
Inshallah, I hope so.
We have a lot of designers who are willing to help. ودي حاجة تحفة that we discovered through Design to Go. وبس, وأحب أقول لكم thank you, وأشكر برضو تطوير مصر at the end for powering this round and being our sponsor في الماركتينج. وبس thank you. وعايزة برضه أفكر يعني إحنا we're gonna have lives with top designers Sundays and Wednesdays من الساعة 9. هيبقى في دايما طبعا posts عليها و a lot of fun cases وبرضه a lot of يعني amazing designers. في برضه other sessions. عندنا بكرة another session من round 1 just to recap on the process مع other designers و other cases. فبكرة معانا برضو 2 cases الساعة 7. وبليز تيون. ويعني بنحب نشوفكم برضو تمارا وعليا في other events إن شاء الله. وأحمد طبعا
إن شاء الله.
يعني هنشوف هتلاقي حازم بيجيك يقول لك إيه النظام بتعمل إيه.
ينور. أنا يعني طلع ما بيننا مش common friends عيلة, فأكيد حابب أشوفه أكتر بكتير.
Okay. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you guys. Good night.
Bye.
يلا, bye.
Bye.